Hey guys, so today's video is going to be a full face featuring only brands that use ethical mica in their products. So this is something that I feel like doesn't get talked about very much in the beauty community, but I feel like it should be talked about more, from myself included, because for years now I've been focusing on only using cruelty-free products that aren't tested on animals, and that's very important to me, but there are also so many other ethical concerns with makeup products outside of just animal cruelty. There can also be cruelty to humans involved in the making of makeup. So mica is an ingredient that's used in a lot of makeup products that gives it like a shimmer or a sparkle, and sometimes it's even used in makeup that doesn't have any shimmer to it. Like I was even looking at my mascara ingredient list, those can have mica in them too. Sometimes it can just be used for like texture enhancing in products, from what I understand. So it's one of those ingredients that's kind of everywhere. It's in everything, and unfortunately a lot of mica is sourced from illegal mines that use child labor, and it's a really huge issue in the makeup industry and in a lot of industries that rely on mica. So I actually one of the main reasons I wanted to do this video is to shout out Ethical Elephant. She's a blogger that has a cruelty-free brand list, but she also has a list of animal cruelty-free brands that have also confirmed that they only use ethical mica that didn't come from child labor. And she also has a list of brands that only use synthetic mica. And there are over 100 brands on this list, and they kind of span all different price points. There's Essence and Catrice on this list. Those are two very affordable brands, and then there are some more expensive high-end brands. And I'm gonna leave Ethical Elephant's list down below if you wanna check it for yourself, as well as some other resources about this issue if you wanna learn more. There's a great like 19-minute YouTube documentary from Refinery29 about mica in makeup. So let's hop into the makeup and we'll kind of chat as we go. I did pick out a couple of new things to try in this video, and then we also have some things that were already in my collection. But one brand that I was really excited to see on this list was About Face. This is Halsey's makeup line, and I've heard so many good things about this brand. They just seem like a really cool company. I like their packaging. That's like one of the main things that appealed to me. But I did decide to pick up one of her cream blushes because these just recently launched. They seem to be getting a lot of buzz, so I figured I could try it out for you today. I do love a cream blush in a compact. It's my favorite type of cream blush, and I also just thought this packaging was super cute. So I picked up the shade Laid in this blush, and then I also got a little sample of their highlighter, so maybe we could try that out today as well. And for foundation, I picked up a new foundation from Essence. This is their Pretty Natural Hydrating Foundation. This has been on my wish list for a while, and I kind of just wanted to try it. And Essence is one of the brands that is on the ethical mica list, so I figured I would use that as an excuse to try some more things from Essence. So I did get their Pretty Natural Foundation and their Bye Bye Panda Eyes Mascara. Those are two things I hadn't tried previously, so we'll give those a try. But let's go ahead and go in with this foundation. So I ended up getting the shade 03 Neutral Ivory, which is a pretty good shade match for me, I would say. It's a little bit yellow. Also, I've been breaking out over here, which is making me sad. This is about my third time using this foundation, I believe. And so far, the first time I used it, I liked it. The second time I used it, I didn't like it as much. And the second time I used it, I had blended it in with a brush, which usually I don't like as much as a sponge. So the time I did like it, I did use a sponge. So I'm gonna use a sponge today because that seems to be my favorite way to apply it, which is the case with most foundations anyway. This foundation is so affordable. I think it's like $7. Long wear, natural coverage and finish, and weightless feel. And of course it's supposed to be hydrating. So I definitely would agree with the natural coverage claim, which I think is kind of a nicer way of saying light coverage. Yeah, it definitely doesn't cover much. I can definitely still see my skin showing through, and even when I blended it in with a brush, I was still getting pretty light coverage. This doesn't really claim, it says it just has a natural finish, and I would say that's correct as well. It's not super dewy, but it's also not completely flat and matte either. It kind of just looks like the finish that my skin is on its own, which is pretty just middle of the road. The second time I used it that I didn't like it as much, I did feel like it just looked a little bit dry on my skin. I do want to build up just a little bit more of this kind of on my cheeks. Here I have some acne. So there's the foundation built up. I did 2 thin layers and I'm happy with the coverage. I don't really need full coverage most days. I don't mind a kind of lighter coverage foundation. I like the finish. I do feel like it just looks a little bit dry, like around really this area. Also, I feel like it doesn't want to stick right here. Like, it doesn't look offensive on my skin. It doesn't look bad. It's just there's some areas where it looks a teeny bit dry, but for the most part, I feel like my skin looks like skin. So I'm pretty happy with it, especially for a $7 foundation. Like, I don't mind it, but it's not changing my life either. So the next brand we're going to use for concealer is Kosas. This is a concealer that I already had in my collection and I have had it for a while. It is one of my favorites. I was happy to see that Kosas is on the list as well. This is their Revealer concealer in the shade 1.5. This is just one of my favorite concealers. Very skin-like. The only thing with Kosas, they are kind of like a clean beauty brand. A lot of these brands are actually. And for me, clean beauty, it's not a selling point for me. Like, that's not what's going to sell me on a product. But the thing is, a lot of clean beauty brands also, even though I don't really agree with that clean marketing, and I think brands should just use well-researched, safe ingredients, but a lot of clean beauty brands, a lot of brands that market themselves as clean also happen to have other things about them that I like. Like, many times they are free of animal testing. Many times they also are conscious with their packaging, like Aether. Aether does market themselves as a clean brand, but they're also just kind of a responsible brand in a lot of other ways. So that's why, you know, I'm not going to just dismiss a brand just because they say that they're a clean brand, even though I don't agree with that messaging. A lot of things to consider when it comes to like the ethics of makeup, but that is what the Kosas concealer looks like. I feel like it gives me a satisfactory amount of coverage while still also not looking like I'm wearing a thick layer of concealer on my under eyes. And I can also kind of build this up. Like, I can even build up a little bit more here in my darkest areas and it's still gonna look good. So it's very buildable, easy concealer to work with. Now, one thing about this concealer that I've heard from a lot of people is that a lot of people's expired quickly likely because Kosas maybe doesn't use preservatives that aren't deemed clean, even though those are important things to keep products lasting a long time. The shelf life symbol on it says 6 months, which is not a long time, but that's a kind of other thing with clean beauty brands. A lot of the times they don't use the more well-researched preservatives that are better for keeping products good for a long time. But so far I have had mine open for longer than 6 months and it still smells fine, it still performs fine, and you know, I'm just going to keep making a point to keep it stored in a cool, dark place and hopefully it'll continue to hold up until I use it up, but we'll see. So that's just a word of caution there, but I do love what this does for my under eyes. So for bronzer, we're going to use LYS. This is their No Limits cream bronzer stick in Motivate. I've been loving this cream bronzer ever since I got it earlier this summer. I've just been loving it. It's so creamy. LYS is another brand on the ethical MICA list. I love their products. So far I've only tried the bronzer, the cream blush, and the foundation. That foundation I really like, but I ended up buying the wrong shade. I got the shade LP4, I believe it was, and it was just too dark on me. So I ended up passing that on to someone in our local Buy Nothing group. But I do love the formula of that foundation and I want to get it in the correct shade soon. I don't know why I put this in such a weird spot on my forehead. I was not thinking. You're probably like, why did she do it like that? Yeah, I couldn't tell you. This bronzer just blends out so easily. If you're intimidated by cream bronzers, or even if you're intimidated by stick cream products, this is a great one to try because it's just so user-friendly. And I just think LYS makes some amazing products. So definitely check out LYS if you haven't. They are one of the more affordably priced brands at Sephora, and bonus points that they don't use child labor to source their mica. Actually, this product doesn't contain mica anyway, and also, by the way, not all of these products have mica in them. It's more, I just wanted to shout out these brands that do only use ethically sourced mica. Actually, I'm gonna do highlighter before blush. I mean to do that more often and I just always forget, but this is the little sample that I have of the About Face Fight or Flight highlighting fluid. I believe, oh, the shade name is Fight or Flight. Ooh, that looks pretty. Oh, wow, okay. I think this shade will work for me. Ooh, it is a fluid. Definitely like a liquid. Oh, that's so pretty. It's almost silver. You guys, I have a small zit that is bleeding right now. Sorry about that. It's probably not what you came to see. Okay, so there's that highlighter. Very intense, very pretty. This is like, if you want a metallic highlighter, this will give you that. So the main thing I wanted to try from About Face is their new cream blush. This is in the shade Laid. I love the packaging on these. I love that the packaging matches the shade, so every one has a different colored compact. So I went with this shade because it's very pink and I've really been liking this kind of color lately, and I didn't already have another cream blush in this type of color. So let's just dip into this and see. I did swatch this already and it has a very interesting texture. It feels very almost silicone-y, kind of like a cream to powder texture. Let's just see how it applies. This is actually my first time using this blush, so I'm building up a little bit more now. I don't like what's happening to my foundation. I don't think it's the blush's fault because I was already noticing this a little bit when I applied bronzer and highlighter as well, but I just feel like this foundation is not wanting to stay on my cheeks as I apply cream products, and I haven't powdered my face yet, so I don't think this Essence foundation is going to be a new favorite, but maybe it just works better with powder products rather than cream products. If you've tried this foundation, let me know what your experience was with it, because I'm not so sure about it right now. But this blush is really pretty. I love the color. I just think that is such a fresh and youthful color, very on trend. I know pink blush has been like a 2022 staple for so many people, and I can't say I'm upset about it. I think that's really cute. I'll just take whatever's left of my brush over the nose. Excited to try that with a foundation I'm more familiar with too, because I'm not loving... Okay, I zoomed you in. Try to ignore how dry my eyelids are, but I'm really not liking this right here. It just looks a little bit separated, and it almost looks like I had already powdered my face before I applied these cream products. That's kind of how my foundation is acting right now, even though I haven't used any powder yet today. And I do kind of feel like parts of my cheeks, it looks like there's no foundation at all, even right here where I didn't really use any cream products down here. So, I don't know. I like the effect of applying the blush after the highlighter because it just helps everything look more blended, you know? Okay, so next up is going to be face powder, and I'm going to go in with my Kosas Cloud Set powder, another Kosas product. I do like the way this powder kind of like evenly spreads over the skin, you know, like you can get a small amount and it just kind of like evenly taps out. I do like how finely milled this powder is. Like I feel like it's very easy to just kind of get an even spread of it on your skin, if you know what I mean, but I do think it's a bit overpriced and overhyped. My skin looks smooth and blurred after using that powder, so I can't complain. My favorite pressed powder, it's definitely not a dupe for the Kosas one, but I like it just as much as the Kosas, if not more. It's the CoverGirl Clean Fresh pressed powder. Now, CoverGirl isn't on Ethical Elephant's ethical mica list. I am a little confused by the list. It says, I have confirmed the list of cruelty-free makeup brands have ensured their natural mica is ethically sourced without child labor and have verified this with their mica suppliers through documentation, certificates, third-party audits, or they're members of the Responsible Mica Initiative. So the Responsible Mica Initiative is a group of companies that is working together to ensure better labor conditions. And there are quite a few beauty brands that are part of the Responsible Mica Initiative that I don't see on Ethical Elephant's list. So I'm not really sure what that means exactly, but a few of the beauty brands that are part of the Responsible Mica Initiative are Burt's Bees, Chantecaille, Posnova Beauty, which owns Essence and Catrice, which those two brands are on her list, And then there's Coty, which does own CoverGirl, L'Oreal, which owns Urban Decay, NYX, a bunch of other brands, LVMH, which owns a bunch of makeup brands that we know. So I'm wondering, and I'm gonna have to do more research into this as well, what exactly does it mean for a brand to be part of the Responsible MICA initiative? Does that mean that all of their MICA is ethically sourced? I'm not sure. But CoverGirl, being under Coty, would be considered a member of this group, so I'm not really sure if CoverGirl would be considered like ethically sourced or not. But if that's the case, then there are a lot more brands in my collection that are part of the Responsible MICA initiative that I'm not featuring today. So more research is needed. I guess I need to look into this further. It's such a kind of a new thing that people have only started talking about in the last few years. So there's just not as much information about this online as there is about animal tested cosmetics, you know? But anyway, moving forward with the makeup look, I picked up a new eyebrow pencil from Essence as well. This is their eyebrow designer in the shade Blonde. So this is a wooden pencil. It's a little bit stiff, but I don't find it terribly stiff. Sometimes I kind of like when pencils are a little bit more on the stiff side because I don't want them to be too creamy to the point where they're like putting too much product in my brows. And I don't find that I have to bear down super hard. It's nowhere near as bad as the CoverGirl wooden eyebrow pencils. Those are terrible. This is definitely much better than that. The only thing is I do feel like the shade is just a little bit warmer than I prefer. I just find that when I go warm in my brows, it just looks a little more obvious that I have product in them. And it does have a teeny little brush on the end, which isn't bad actually. Like, I feel like it works just as well as a spoolie for just kind of brushing your brows into place. And then for my brow gel, another brand that is on this list of ethical mica brands is Pacifica. This is their highest def hemp fiber brow gel. Now, unfortunately, I don't really like this brow gel, and I haven't liked most things that I've tried from Pacifica, I'm sad to say. They're one of those brands that I always want to try more from, but every time I try something else from them, I don't end up liking it that much. There's been a few things I've liked. I like their nail polishes, those are fine. Their body lotion is fine. This isn't bad, it just doesn't really give my brows much hold. I do really want to try their, their vegan collagen mascara that Kelly Gooch really likes. That one is on my list to try. That sounds promising, but has anyone tried anything makeup-wise from Pacifica that they love? Because I would like to try and fall in love with some more Pacifica products, but I just haven't found them to be the most reliable brand just when it comes to the quality of their products. But I would like to change my mind because their packaging is really cute and I always want to try their stuff. And I keep giving them more chances too. Like every time I see their packaging, I'm like, that's super cute, I want that. So yeah, I wish I liked more things from them. Within my eyeshadow palette collection, I do have a few brands that are on the ethical mica list. Essence, of course, I love their Coral Me Maybe palette. Aether Beauty, I have 3 eyeshadow palettes from them that I really like. The Rose Quartz palette, the Desert Sunset palette, which is a beautiful, like warm coral kind of palette, so pretty. Kind of want to use that. Also lately I've been loving their Citrine quad, which is a great summer into fall quad. And I also, an oldie but a goodie in my collection, the Shared Planet Polar Bear palette. Shared Planet is another brand on the ethical mica list, and this palette has some beautiful shimmers in it. I don't know which palette I should use. I kind of want to use my Shared Planet palette because I haven't used it in a while and I'm kind of itching to use this blue shade here. So let's use that. I feel like I have used my Aether palettes recently in videos, so let's do something different. I also did see that Shared Planet reduced the price on this palette. It's now $32 and I think it used to be either $42 or $48. So if you've been wanting to get it but like $40 something was too high for you, maybe check it out. Maybe they'll have a sale soon too. I'm gonna dip into the shade Cub. I do find the mattes in here kind of stiff, so don't be afraid to like work your brush into there. Different from like more powdery mattes, like you can kind of get in there. You don't have to be shy with your brush with these. But like once you do get it on your brush, it's pigmented, you know what I mean? Like they show up, they're just kind of hard pressed, so they're not gonna kick up a ton of powder right away. And I love that Cub shade for the transition. It's just like the perfect cool toned soft taupe transition color. And it does have a little bit of rosiness to it that I feel like just helps it look really natural on my skin tone. I feel like I haven't heard from Shared Planet in a while. They haven't even updated their Instagram since January 31st, so it makes me kind of wonder if they're still active as a brand, you know, are they gonna keep putting out products, or are they kind of phasing out? I'm not sure. But aside from using ethical mica, they are just a really great company. They donate to various animal charities like Panthera, Polar Bears International, the Sea Turtle Conservancy. They are, of course, cruelty-free. They're a small indie brand, so I think it's a great brand to support if you are on the hunt for a new one. And I love their shimmer eyeshadows, as you'll see in a moment. Okay, so I do want the main focus of this look to be the shade Avalanche. That is my favorite shade in this palette. There's what it looks like swatched. I mean, it's unreal. I do want to do kind of a halo eye. I'm actually going to go in first with the shade Prism on my inner and outer corners. It's just a sort of soft shimmery taupe. And I'm just applying that to my inner and outer corners. Grabbing my fluffy blending brush again and just blending through the crease. So then I'm going to pick up some of Avalanche, that light blue shimmer, just on my ring finger, and I'm going to tap that in the center of the lid. This shade is so sparkly and duochrome, and it's just so pretty and fun. Just starting out applying it to the center of the lid and then dragging it out, kind of overlapping it a little with the taupe shade. I keep on getting out of center. Can't seem to stay in the middle. Once again, grabbing my blending brush and blending some more in the crease. Okay, I'm kind of, actually, you know what? I think I'm just going to take that light blue shimmer into the inner corner of my lid as well. I'm kind of not liking this super cool look. I feel like it kind of makes my eyes look like I have a bruise. So I'm gonna just take it all the way in. But like, look at how shifty that shade is. It's so just like sparkly. It's captivating. Yeah, update on the foundation, it looks even worse. Do you see how just kind of separated it looks? Right in this area. Yeah, over here too. Okay, I like it with the blue all the way in better. Halo eyes are very hit or miss for me. I think just with my eye shape, it really depends on what colors I'm using if it's gonna look good. But I like just having that blue all over the lid. I just love how, like, it's got like almost like a dusty lilac shift to it, and it's just stunning. So one brand that only uses synthetic mica in their products is Black Moon Cosmetics. This is another kind of indie brand. Now, synthetic mica, unlike true mica, is made in a lab, so that way they're able to know for sure that there's no child labor involved. If you watch that Refinery 29 documentary, which I highly recommend, it's only 19 minutes long, and it's just a really good kind of crash course in the issue with mica. So they do explain in that video why synthetic mica isn't necessarily the answer to the problem, but it's a way for brands to not have to worry about sourcing their mica from child labor if they just completely bypass it altogether. So Black Moon is one of those brands. I personally think, you know, I'd rather use a product with synthetic mica than a product that used mica mined from child labor. But it's also just such a complex issue that, you know, there just needs to be more awareness overall. But I have 3 of these Black Moon liquid like glitter shadows. These are so pretty. Some of these are kind of drying out. I actually might need to add some like contact solution to this to make it, well, actually no, this one looks fine. This is what I'm going to use today. This is the shade Luna. It's kind of a frosty duochrome, like bluish pinkish color. That's what that looks like kind of blended out. Just very wet looking. So I'm going to put some of this on my inner corner for some brightening. I am going to add some contact solution to this after all. That's a little hack for you, by the way, with liquid like glitters. If they start to dry out, you can add like a drop of contact solution or eye drops, and it does help to just kind of revive the product. So I'm going to just take a little tap of that in my inner corner and then just use my pinky to blend it. Ooh, yes. That looks so pretty with the Shared Planet colors too. Look at how reflective that is. That is so, so sparkly. Oh, love it. All right, I definitely need some eyeliner. I'm actually, you know what I'm gonna do? For eyeliner, I'm actually just gonna take some of the shade Black Ice in the Shared Planet palette, and I'm not gonna do a wing with this. I'm just gonna softly define my upper lash line. I'm just going to keep it all very close to the lash line just to add a little definition. Yeah, see the difference there? And before I go in with mascara, I'm going to use my Makeup Revolution Fix and Glow Setting Spray. And Makeup Revolution is another one of the brands on this list, which is very exciting because I love this setting spray so much. It has a great sprayer too. I think that's one of the reasons I love it so much, is it just sprays so evenly. All right, next up for this Essence Bye Bye Panda Eyes mascara. I have used this a few times. The other Essence mascara that I tried in the past was the Lash Princess, the green one. And I liked what it did for my lashes, but it was just so smudgy. And a lot of you guys recommended that I try the Bye Bye Panda Eyes. This one is specifically meant to not smudge and transfer. That's like its main feature. It says smudge proof, volumizing, and defining. And this is a tubing mascara. So it's one of those that you can just remove with warm water. I just go straight in with my cleansing balm at night and it comes off really well with the cleansing balm too. So, but if you just wanted to use warm water, you could do that also. And I mean, this is kind of one of those mascaras that to me, it's fine. It doesn't smudge, which I really appreciate. I have had a tiny bit of flaking with it at times if I like rub my eyes or something. Like usually I don't notice that until like the very end of the day when I'm about to wash off my makeup anyway. I might see a little bit of flaking, but it's really not bad. My main issue with mascaras normally is smudging, and I haven't had any smudging with this. And you can see, I mean, it does define my lashes, gives them some pretty good volume, but I don't like this as much as the Milani Anti-Gravity. Okay, so that is what that mascara looks like. I mean, I don't hate it, you know? It looks nice. It's just not blowing me away. I do definitely like the Milani Anti-Gravity highly rated mascara. I think I got the order of those words wrong, but you know what I mean. I do think I like that one better. That one just makes my lashes look a little bit more, like it just has a little bit more oomph to it. Now, I'm not sure about the MICA policy of Milani. I would like to look into that further. That's the thing. I mean, with any kind of brand list, whether it's like an animal testing brand list from Ethical Elephant or any other blogger or group, you know, no list is perfect. No list is completely comprehensive. So just because a brand isn't on Ethical Elephant's list doesn't automatically mean it's not an ethical MICA brand, you know? But maybe this is something that, you know, if there's a brand you're curious about that's not on this list, maybe you could email them yourself and see if they... See, I think the biggest thing is that you want to see that these brands are transparent, and a big problem with the MICA industry as a whole is there's just no transparency. A lot of these illegal mines that use child labor, they then send the MICA off to be sold under a different company, like a bigger company, so it's really hard to know and trace back where it came from at the end of the day once it's in a product. So that's the thing, it's just really the term cruelty-free only pertains to animal cruelty most of the time, and I prefer to say tested on animals or not tested on animals because that's more accurate, like that's what we're really talking about. But really at the end of the day, there can be cruelty in our products in so many other ways as well, from the way that certain ingredients are sourced, like MICA, to the way that that brand's employees are treated, to you know, the inclusivity of a brand's shade range. There's just so many different factors to be aware of that it can become very, very overwhelming. And at the end of the day, I don't think it's necessarily possible to have a 100% ethical makeup collection because every brand has issues. No brand is perfect. Just because a brand doesn't test on animals doesn't automatically mean that they treat their human employees well or that their ingredients are sourced from a place where the humans are treated well. You know, brands aren't required to be transparent about these things either. I do wonder, you know, how easy would it be for brands to lie and say that they use ethical MICA when they don't? Or do the brands that say they use ethical MICA really know for sure when it's so hard to trace back? We'll get back to that in a second. I do want to go ahead and apply my lip product. I am going to use one of these Aether Beauty lip oil and cheek stains. This is in the shade Influence. I have been loving these so much. This formula is just to die for. Like, I just think they did such a great job. Aether Beauty is, as you guys know, one of my favorite brands. I think they deserve way more hype in the beauty community. It's not messy at all. It's pigmented, but it's super easy to work with. I like to kind of blend it out with my finger at the end. Like, I got a little bit outside my lip line, I can just easily go boom, and it's gone. It's just such a flexible formula to work with, and I like that it stays in place. Even though it goes on with a glossy finish, it doesn't bleed outside my lip line either. These also make amazing blushes too. I wear them all the time as blush. Can't recommend these highly enough. They're expensive, but okay, well, very colorful look today. Normally I would probably go with more of a nude lip, but I just really wanted to use this lip oil stain. Another couple brands that are on this list that I didn't use today, but that I do really love are Nabla. I love their highlighter, so pretty. This is the shade Privilege. It's just the most gorgeous peachy champagne highlighter, stunning. And Nude by Nature is another brand. I have a gloss from them. This actually, I don't think this brand is available in the US, but my Canadian friend sent this to me a while ago. They're sold in Canada and Australia and possibly some other countries as well. But this is a great gloss if you have access to this country. It is on this list, just so you know. So a lot of great brands on here that I haven't tried yet that I want to try also. I see Well People, I've heard good things about. Thrive Cosmetics. The Balm is on here. I don't currently have anything from The Balm, but I have had products from them in the past that I really liked. I feel like I haven't heard anyone talking about The Balm lately, but they are still out there. I kind of want to retry some of their products soon. Plain Jane Beauty, that's another brand I wanted to try. Mob Beauty, I really want to try their products too. Yeah, so lots of great brands on here. I'll link this list below if you want to check it out. So I really like that this list is out there and that there's just more awareness about this issue these days, because I feel like we've gone too long not talking about other areas of cruelty in our makeup outside of just animal cruelty. So I think it's a good thing to just be aware of and keep in mind when you're shopping. And I think it's just good to know more about the brands that we're purchasing from. At the end of the day, I think we all just have to do our best, and that's going to look different for everybody. I think it would be impossible for anyone's makeup collection to be 100% ethical. It's just not possible. I mean, just about every brand has some issues, right? Like some ethical problems that we may not even know about. So it can be really overwhelming, and I definitely don't want anyone to get so overwhelmed trying to be perfect in their makeup consumption. Like, we all just have to do the best we can. I think one of the best things we can do at the end of the day is just reduce our consumption overall. Only buy what you need. Buy things that you're going to actually use. Like I was saying before, no brand is perfect. It's very hard to have a 100% ethical makeup collection, and I think the best we can do is continue to demand transparency from brands and also from the MICA industry as a whole, which, you know, a lot of that is up to the governing bodies in these countries where the child labor is happening. And I hope that we start to see more and more lists like these, because, you know, at the end of the day, just because a brand is animal cruelty free doesn't mean it's entirely cruelty free. But I also think we can care about multiple issues at the same time and demand better from brands across the board in all of these different ethical areas. So really, I just wanted to do this video to share that this list is out there if you want to check it out, and I also highly recommend you know, just reading more about this issue as a whole. I'll link some resources down below if you want to read more about this topic. But thank you so much for watching today's video. Let me know what you think down below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. I'd also love to have you over on either Patreon or my YouTube memberships. Both have the same perks and they're both pretty much the same thing. It's just whichever is more convenient for you. So I would love to see you over there on either of those platforms. Otherwise, I hope you all have an amazing rest of your day, and I will talk to you again very soon in my next video. Bye.